Hello again. Um, we've been talking about weddings, and as we know, weddings we have different perspectives from males and females when it comes to weddings. What a man finds important in a wedding is very different from what a woman will find important. And so we thought it was very necessary to speak to a couple and see, on hindsight, what do they think about the wedding they had, what was important to the man, what stood out for the lady, what are some of the lessons that we learned. So if you this is your first time of coming to this channel, I want to welcome you again to Creating Wealth with Purpose channel. And this is where we teach you how to manage your finance, create wealth, and to be a blessing to others. So stay tuned as we discuss the experiences of a couple in wedding planning.
My name is Joshua Ansahi. This is my wife, Betty. And we got married on the 7th of October 2021.
No, it was on the 9th.
It wasn't on the 9th. It was on the
It has started. Married couples and dates.
It was on the 7th that we had the traditional marriage, which is the marriage.
Exactly.
And we blessed it on the
Okay, no problem. I'll take it like that.
Yes.
Yeah, it was quite a wonderful period. I mean, you don't just get up and then organize have a wedding, something that we had planned. It required a lot of faith, though, as my wife already said, because we had certain expectations that our salary would come, everything, and I think for us there was a certain kind of a time limit to what we wanted to do because the wedding was going to take place in Tamale. And we have Tamale in the same October. So October was like the last date we could set to do the wedding. If we wanted to do it while still staying in Tamale, because if we had moved from Tamale, we'd have to come back and still post the wedding and everything in Tamale because that's where she's from and that's where her parents are.
Okay.
So at some point we had to go with faith because the salary was not in, but we knew it would come.
Okay.
I mean, when you start working as a new doctor, money doesn't come immediately. It will take maybe 6-7 months before it comes.
Okay.
So at the time, it wasn't there, but we knew, okay, it will come around March, April. That would be before the October. So we started preparations whilst having nothing, but knowing that, okay, there's going to be an accumulation of our money coming in. And this is how we're going to go about spending it.
When we decided that we wanted to get married, let's say somewhere in January, we started asking around. So now when we went for weddings, we're not just going for weddings because we wanted to go. We went there to celebrate with the couple, but we realized that we come back with the program outline. Sometimes it has the names of the vendors, the people used. Okay, so let's say we are impressed with how these people did their decor. We are impressed with the dress and all that. So you see the number and the names of the vendors there. And then we go home and we discuss. We're like, oh, so this wedding, what do you think about it? What did you like about it? We usually did that anytime we come back from weddings. If I go alone, I'll come and say, hey, I saw this, so I think it would be cool. It wasn't that expensive, but this and this. And then we started reaching out to the people. That's what you can do early, so that you can sort out the most expensive ones and the cheap ones, those you can afford. Okay, so we started sorting out. So let's say with the gowns, I'll reach out to them on Instagram and all other platforms and I'll ask, oh, so what are the prices for these ranges of gowns? And they'll give me their price. I'll be like, you are not coming back, or I'll get back to you. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And all those things. So we started pretty early, trying to sort out. That's what you can do. Ask around. And so that's what we did basically in the beginning.
Okay.
So that helped us keep on track because that way we were able to know, okay, I think a shoe costs this and this is the kind I want. So let's put it this way. We are not going above this because it will be too much. After that, I might not use this anymore. The bouquet is this way, this amount. So this is what we are using and all that. And we tried as much as possible not to go above our limits. We're not trying to be, what's the word? Fugal, that's the word. Fugal is the word. Yeah, so we wanted to have a very beautiful wedding, but within our budget. That's just all, because we are not looking at anybody. We're looking at what we're going to get, what was going to come into our account.
Okay.
Okay, for me personally, I try to involve my friends and then my family. So for those in Kumasi, those in Accra, I tried to make them do the rounds for me before I finally went to do my final rounds to get my stuff. So they also looked for things in different parts of Accra and Kumasi because Tamale, there are some things you would not get no matter what. You have to go to Accra or Kumasi to get them. So those people made the enquiries for me and then they helped me navigate when I went there finally. So it was quite helpful. And then I delegated some things also to them so that I will not be too stressed out. Yes, even though in the end I was still stressed, but I can imagine how it would have been like if I was doing everything alone. So that's another thing that I did.
Okay, so one thing I would say that is fundamental, I think Betty has mentioned some parts of it, is to be able to be honest with each other, know how much you each have to bring to the table. I mean, you should know your worth. I mean, how your wealth is basically the same, because that is from that style of budgeting is going to come from. You're not just going to budget out of thin air. And I mean, always keeping in mind that your wedding is a moment. It's an event. It's a great event. It's a big one. You should treat it as such, but you should realize that it's just a couple of days, probably just a day, and that is it. So you need to know how much do you have, how much are you expecting to come in, and maybe let me mention this into ahead of time. I feel like you should plan. You should plan based on what you can contribute, not necessarily what you think is going to come from somewhere. I think one of the things that might surprise you is that where you were expecting money to come from, it might not come from. And also in that same line, where you are not expecting money to come from, money can come from there.
Yeah,
so
like the one CDs in the offering.
So the most important thing is to know that, okay, this is what I have, this is what she has. Okay. And this is at the amount we think we can bring to the table. And afterwards, we'll be able to have this left and be able to live this standard of living after the wedding. So I think that helps as a baseline. Well, I think we were fortunate. Looking back, I think we really made some good decisions, honestly.
Okay.
There's one thing which I feel like maybe I thought of, or we thought of ahead of time, that I think I'll give us an advice because there are things that you are getting for the wedding. There are things that are going to be used that day, and there are things that are going to be used beyond that day, even though they are all going to be gotten in preparation towards the wedding. So we have certain things that one good example is the rings, because you're going to use the rings on that day, but the rings are going to basically be on your hand for a very long time, if not for the rest of your life. Yeah. I know some people go in and then change their rings and buy better ones and all that. I mean, we have those options there, but something like that, I think is something you should invest in, and you should get something that you really want, something that you really feel comfortable with, something that is of a certain quality that you can at least do with. And I think looking back, I think that's something. Initially, we're going for something maybe a bit more down. Not that we went for something top, but I believe that what we settled for, we can manage. It's manageable, something like that. So yeah, that's it. So you sit down, think of some of the things that are going to be used for the wedding. There are certain items you are going to present for the traditional wedding. I mean, you'll be given an item list and all that. But you have to realize that those things are actually going to be used by the bride or even both of you after the wedding. You're actually going to be using it. So bring this, bring that, bring this, bring that. Try and then get the right quality there so that and there are certain things that is just for the day. Everybody will forget about it in 2 hours.
I think there were just some aspects of the planning that were not on point because most of my friends were not in town, and my sister, who was supposed to be the main person, was not around. She came later, and it was a bit of a challenge when it came to dealing with the guests. And so we are not anticipated that number also. We didn't expect people to show up that much. So when it came to the refreshment, there was a bit of a problem there and all that. But aside that, I think it was really well planned. It was okay. And for me, I was only surprised by the number and all, but I don't think I had any regrets because I did things as I thought I should. Just that no matter what in planning of a wedding, there are some things that some unforeseen things that will happen. So I ended up getting my gown later than I expected, even though I planned ahead and all that. So I had no control, had no control. And that was one of the things that stressed me out. But in the end, it turned out beautiful. And as I was saying, I found out that there was actually a fashion designer, someone who could sew gowns in Tamale, like maybe a month to my wedding.
Wow.
Okay, so I knew of someone, she was sewing my gown, but then for those morning robes and all other stuff like that in my traditional way, it was the other lady I found later who sewed this for me because I didn't know about it.
Okay.
So apparently my asking was not even enough because if I had known, I would have just gone with her earlier. And sometimes we want to go with big names or we want to go with big brands. So you see yourself traveling from Tamale or wherever you are to another region just for fitting. And the fitting is very necessary because if you don't go for the first fitting, second fitting, third fitting and all that, you might not like your dress at the end. So in the end, so you realize that you are traveling up and down just for a dress when there is someone in your city who actually does a good job, but it's just that you are not aware. So as I said, another thing is just to ask and all that.
So I think one thing I would say is you need to be honest with your wife for wife to be at the time. I think that really helps. You need to be honest. You need to be open about your financial might, so that at the end of the day, the most important thing is her, because if she gets you, for me, I don't think you should be worried about how other people view the occasion. But if maybe your bride to be is seeing that you are at a certain level and you actually aren't at that particular level, then whatever you are doing is not seen in the right perspective. So the most important thing is to be able to be open and let her know that, okay, this is actually my might. Okay. So that everything that you are doing from then onwards actually makes sense. Why we are cutting this, why we are adding this, or why we are not doing things this way. Mm-hmm. And what I also want to say is that I think I went ahead and mentioned it. You should be able to know that you should plan with what you have, with what you alone have. You should be able to ask yourself, what I have. Of course, it's a team. You and your bride to be fine as a team. What we have, is it enough? Because you can't. I don't think you have the right to bank on anybody to help you, not even your parents. Even though your parents are surely going to do something to help, it will be almost impossible that they will not give anything. But it could happen. It could happen. It's not a 0% chance. So you should be able to plan and not say, okay, I think this person will give me this. I think this person will add it. I think my family at least organize something. I think you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. Family members will be calling you asking for transport fare. Like, you'll be surprised. You'll be thinking, oh no, people are rather going to, and they'll be like, you are from the south, we are coming to Tamaleo, and you'll be seeing. There might be some, and you'll be surprised. Some people are actually thinking that, oh, now our son is a doctor, he's made it, and he's married someone, it's Tamale, and we are going with flights. And some people have this impression that you are so capable of bringing everybody by flights there, and you are surprised. And some people that you were not really looking up to would be, will be surprising you, honestly. And I think for us, it was good that we planned to do things at least with what we had, because maybe heading towards the wedding was nearing. It's now 1 month more, and it's like, we are not really hearing anything from anybody. It's like we are in this alone.
Yeah.
But I think when it got close, I was surprised. A lot of things came from certain angles we were not expecting. And that really, really helped. So yeah, I believe Those are the two things I would want to mention.
Well, I'll also say that when you are making your enquiries, try not to act like a bride. Try not to add the word bridal to anything.
Okay.
When you add the word bridal to anything, it becomes quadruple. Honestly, a shoe that you'd have just wanted to buy, maybe it's a mirror shoe, if I should say, it's a white shoe, something that is wedding worthy, thing you can use. You go and ask, and it's like, oh, 180 CDs, 150 CDs. Once you just say, oh, I'm getting married and I need a shoe that will be, I can use for my wedding, it's going to be like 380 CDs and all that, 400 CDs just for a wedding because I added the word bridal.
Yeah.
See, so sometimes you have to be smart when you are shopping.
Okay.
You just look for something, you go for a kente, you like it, you go for a smoke, you like it, buy it. Don't say, oh, my wedding this day, so what am I going to add to this and that? No. The only person who might get you is the seamstress, whoever is going to sew the thing. That one, you can't run away from it. They have bridal prices. Whether you are sewing something that's simple that a wedding guest can wear, you will still pay a certain amount of money. But as much as possible, try not to act like a bride when you're buying stuff.
Okay.
And then, as I said earlier on, ask around, make enquiries. Where to get the best photographer, sample their work, ask people about their attitude and how their work ethics and all that, because it can make or unmake your wedding. If the photographer is someone who is not patient and all that, you realize your photos will not come out well because you're not smiling. The person is giving you pressure here and there, saying certain things. Then on that day, that's not what you need. You need someone who will be supportive because things can happen. And if people cannot think on their feet and know that these are the things that happen, they'll make you feel very bad about all those things. So I think that's what I want to say. You should not add bridal to things when you're buying them. And then you should also ask around early enough so you can sort out those you can work with.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the surprises you are going to find out, and then we've talked to people and it looks like it happens. It's not just us, it wasn't just our experiences. There are some people who are going to be at your wedding. They are going to either be close or not so close. And they're going to have a lot of suggestions. Let's do it this way. Let's do it that way. Let's add this to it. No, let's set up another one here. No, let's meet again here. Let's have another something here. And it's going to be a lot of talk with no show. Okay. Because they have so many suggestions, but that some people say, okay, no, you guys, okay, no, let's have another set of drinks coming in. Let's have, and they're actually paying. They're actually saying, oh, no, I'm bringing this, I'm bringing that. Okay. And the people who are going to be talking a lot about how things should look and how we can make it more splendid, but it's just talking and giving pressure and making it look like what you are doing. It's not enough. You need to add more. And like I said, you should know yourself. You should both of you should understand what you have and what you really want to do. And the kind of life you want to live afterwards. If you're not really solid on that, I think you cave in at some point. Because as the preparations progress and the pressures increase, and people are saying this and people are saying that, and maybe some people are contributing this and contributing that. In that moment, if you don't take care, you will lose track of what you really want to do because you feel, oh, somebody just added this and somebody is saying, let's add this to this. And if you don't calculate things well, maybe you set up another something or you host another event totally you weren't even hoping to have. And by the time you realize you've entered into maybe you've gone into, you've spent what you were not preparing to spend. So I feel like that's some kind of pressure you can expect from outside, and you should be prepared for it and know what you really want.
I know. So for me, as the firstborn female, it was not easy because, Charlie, that's the first wedding in the house. And you want to do something small, like, no, we're not going to agree. It was really tough for me, especially with my mom and all that, because I told her that we're just going to have the wedding. And after that, we'll share some pastries and then drinks and possibly food. I just said that. When I said pastries and drinks, I waited for a reaction. She didn't look happy. So I was like, we'll add some food to it. And she was like, so that's just it. Like, people will come for my wedding and then that's it. Another person, another LD person we are close to said, it means we don't really value the people. It's like, the people just came for the food. So they just came and we are putting it into your hands and saying, go with the food and all that. Like, she painted a certain picture that is not nice. How people feel about it. But the thing is, we've gone for weddings like then we were really happy. Like, we got to chat with the couple. After that, we took our package and then we left, giving the couple ample time to go. They are tired and all that. So we are done. We are happy for them. And then we go home. But she saw it as a form of an insult and all that, because people cannot come all the way and just put things in rubber in their hand to go and all that. So finally, we had to come to a compromise. We settled on getting a stand. It's still the same thing, no. But getting a stand, the food is already packaged. We have the savory foods and all that. And then you come, it's like a buffet kind of, but it's not buffet. No, Ghana, it's not buffet. So you come around the table and then they give it to you and then you end up packaging your own thing. Sorry, it's the same thing, but then we just had to use wisdom to do all this, and we called it a cocktail. So now we are not just sharing at the gate. You spend a while outside and all that, and then we had the opportunity to cut the cake outside too. So it made it beautiful and all that. So yeah, sometimes you can turn the pressure to your advantage, to your own advantage, and make it a bit more. It's not always that you should show their consents. You can still do the same thing, but in another way. Yeah. You get it? We didn't have to hire a venue. I know she was disappointed. They wanted that kind of reception where family members come. Yeah, we've hired a place, AC. The place is so beautifully decorated, and we'll come in, we'll dance, we'll change and all that. I was like, we can't afford that. I have to tell, how much are you giving us? Are you giving me something? Or if you are giving me something, I told her that even if you are giving me the thing, I've never enriched that. I don't want to do it. It's something I don't want to do. I've never felt comfortable going for receptions. I go for weddings and I go home. I can't go for the reception because I know the kind of people coming for my wedding. Some of them are doctors. They have to do review in the morning. Some of them have to go back. They are on duty, but because of me, they came. So if I end up organizing a reception, most people cannot attend. So you also have to look at the kind of people coming for your wedding. I'm not doing it just because I want to do it. There are those coming to also benefit from it. Would I want to be dancing in an empty hall? No, I will not want to do that. So I have to consider the kind of people coming as well. So yeah, that's the kind of pressure that came. We're able to turn it to our own advantage and all that. And what else? Basically, yes. The kind of food that should be prepared even at home, the kind of people that will come and you need to have this. Like they mentioned some amount of drinks that needed to be at home. And I was like, how many family members do we have? We didn't even provide half of what they asked for. And when I went to one of the festivities, the whole place was filled with drinks and water. And people have not used them. Exactly. Sometimes they overestimate, and if you don't take care, you will spend money on things that are not necessary because they want to look like things are in abundance. And when they came for my daughter's wedding, it was not easy, and all that. People should go up with a certain song and a certain report because they don't want it to be like, hey, they came for this wedding, no food, what, even water to drink, hey, doctor spa and all those things. But that really doesn't matter.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. This has been lovely. And yes, so many good nuggets. So many. And we hope this will help others, that they will get some good points in their planning. They don't have to fall in the potholes before coming out to now complain of bruises, since some of you have gone through and you have given them good points. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Interesting views they shared there, and as you can see, a lot of planning went into their wedding. These were people who discussed a lot of things, and you can see as they shared on what they think they did well and didn't do well. We can learn from it. For instance, thinking that the best person to choose the gown, for instance, is far away when you could get someone closer, and which may even cost you more going up and down and getting your gown resized. But the good thing was how they took their time, and every wedding they went to, they paid attention because they had in mind that they were going to also have a wedding, and looked at vendors and explored that, and also started to get their things gradually as they planned. But take note, they also shared about family pressure and friends. Family and friends pressure can make you do things at your wedding that you may not want to do. So please, let's take note of that and make sure that it's your wedding as much as possible. Everybody has an opinion and a suggestion about it, but it's your wedding, it's your day. You need to do things that you'll be happy about, that you can afford, and then you don't have to take a loan to pay for this wedding. So these past 3 episodes have been very enlightening, and I'm sure they've been helpful to you. So just in summary, let's make sure we remember that this is your wedding and it's not just for Instagram, it is for you. And so what you see out there is what that person chose to do based on what they could afford and do. You can have a very nice wedding without doing the same thing that they did or at the cost that they spent for the wedding. Also, let's remember that you don't have to have separate venues for your wedding. As much as possible, if you can have it at the same venue, it saves time, so people don't spend so many hours moving from one place to another. It saves cost. Everybody, all the vendors can come to the same place, and then it saves all the stress that goes on in setting up at the different places and the confusion and coordinating that. So explore the option of having your wedding at the same venue, so you can have the service and the reception and all that over there. Do a very nice one and then go. And don't be chasing too much on big brand names. Also be open to local vendors who are also committed to grow their business, but because of that, they will continue to also give quality service. Sometimes the big names, because they have already gained a name, will decide to do things anyhow. That's sometimes. But also, if you can't afford that, it doesn't mean that you can't have a good wedding. You can look around, you can ask. There may be a small name person who is very excellent in what they do. And as you also take part or patronize their services, they will also become big and grow, and you have good quality for that. Please remember, there's a lot of pressure and stress within wedding, but weddings are just the beginning. The marriage is the main thing. There are many more celebrations you have in the marriage. So I would encourage you not to stress yourself, go for loans, borrow so much, take up things to create an image that you cannot sustain. Have a wedding that is for you. Have a you wedding. A wedding that when you look back on, you are happy. And afterwards, you are not dodging phone calls, you are not dodging people because you owe, but you can start your marriage off on a good financial note and be very happy. I wish you all the best in your marriage, and also ask that if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do, please share it, and let's hear from you. We would love to hear from you.